Welcome to Blue Flame. You know what it is. You know what time it is. Happy full moon, everybody. Figured I'd come live for a few moments and talk to you about some of the cards that I just pulled. I used my Alice in Wonderland cards. So I could show you. As many of you know, there's a lot of things transforming in most of our lives. Things are shifting, things are shaking up, things are getting rectified. Many of you have gone through massive healing, massive growth, and you'll be rewarded for how you treated people, how you treated yourself, first and foremost. Yeah, as a Libra rising, Aries Sun, Libra rising, this transit is big for me. And as it's big for me, it's big for the rest of y'all as well. I'm going to show you some of the cards that I pulled. Like I said, I used the Alice in Wonderland cards. Such a curious, hey, spiritual warrior. It's okay. The one card at the bottom of the deck, basically for over this whole thing, is such a curious dream. Grounding. Hang on a second. I'm going to turn on my overhead light. I look like crap, but whatever. I figured I'd come on and give you the update since it is the full moon. And I'm going to come on at one point and do the collective read. Probably tomorrow. So, such a curious dream. Grounding, returning to reality, and coming home. Many of you have been coming home to who you are and who yourself is. Who you know yourself to always be. Some of you are feeling more like yourself, thank God. Yeah, unfortunately, you know, we're going to be starting to go into retrograde season this month. Here we go again. I went through so many different emotions today. From happy to shocked to, you know, just the whole, it's been crazy. But I ended up, 3 other cards ended up coming out. So I'm going to read them too. Growing Up was the first one that came out. Wanting to grow and experience rejection of perpetual youth. Now we know some people are stunted, like, of course, in Aries season. It's time to grow up, Aries. Yeah, that's us. And we're like, really? Yeah, it's time. And then Follow the White Rabbit. Many of you have that dream, which I found interesting. Follow the White Rabbit. Creativity meets opportunity. So there's going to be opportunities for you for more growth. Growing up and then becoming braver. Aries is known, this season is known to pull out the hard things, that all those inner qualities that you've been working on, that many Aries and Scorpios have been misunderstood. Mars sign, the Mars energy, we get very misunderstood due to the fact we're so passionate. That is one of the, I was just saying today, one of the biggest downfalls that Aries has. It's one of our biggest strengths and our biggest weaknesses as an Aries, or wherever you have Aries in your chart. Very well could be in those houses. You could be very misunderstood because Aries are very misunderstood. We do have a capacity to forgive easy, but we don't. forgive and forget, but we've learned not to forget anymore. We're not forgetting what people have done. Sure, we forgive because we're told to forgive. We know it just holds us back when we hold on to resentment and anger. But we know all this. Letting go, however, has not been easy, especially for those who have Libra in their chart because they want to always work through things and make things work. Where that Aries energy gets stuck is the naivete of thinking that everybody has a good heart and is just like you. So you want to forgive to be able to move forward because that's what Aries does so well. We don't like being stagnant. We don't like being stuck. I understand that many of us Aries have done dealt with, or any cardinal sign, let's just put it that way. Libra, you guys have been squared by Pluto for the last 20 freaking years, 15, 20 years, roughly around in there. Aries, you've also been squared by Pluto. You know how it feels. It's not fun. Not to mention, you've been squared by Saturn, Jupiter. All you cardinal signs have gone through hell. Now, the fixed signs too, since they've got to kind of experience, they didn't get to experience the Capricorn Brigade like we did, but they sure as heck got to feel a little bit of what Saturn feels like, squaring or opposing you. And they realized that us Aries weren't just being little ball babies back 4 or 5 years ago now. Now they understand, since they've had Saturn squaring their shit or opposing their stuff. Now they understand what we went through. And I believe all cardinal signs deserve a big freaking round of applause and an apology from the rest of the zodiac. My personal opinion. Many of us are still, if you made it this far and you're still here, congratulations. You mutable signs are going to find out next. Yeah, you are. Saturn, there's no whole bars when it comes to Saturn energy. There's none. That Saturnian energy, yeah, mutable. You can morph and move into anything, but you mutable signs are about to find out what it's like next. Y'all thought it was great and fine and dandy when it was in the other freaking elements. Well, just wait till it's in your own. Not very fun. Like I said, you guys kind of have it a little bit easier, though, because you don't have Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter conjunct. Like, us cardinal signs, we all deserve a standing ovation, a round of applause, and a big old hug. Because we held up the zodiac cardinal signs. Yes, we did. And when as soon as Saturn goes into Aquarius, that's when COVID hit. Can't tell me that it's all a coincidence at this point. You can. You can. These people, the powers that be, y'all know who I refer to. Bite my tongue on that one. They know what they're doing. They do. They know exactly what they're doing. They understand the times just like the rest of us do. Mm-hmm. I didn't even realize. I mean, until like a day or two ago, I didn't realize we're having 2 new moons in Aries this year. The next one starts with an eclipse. The next new moon, I thought it was going into Taurus. No. We have another new moon in Aries. It's the very last day of Aries. But there's another new moon in Aries. So guess what that means? Psych! On that first one. Oh, yeah. Universe is funny. Whatever that means, like, does that mean that, we're going to be a full moon in Libra, which we have now. Now we have another new moon in Aries, which is right on the cusp where that eclipse is. So does that mean the full moon? Like, I'm getting confused here because we don't ever have 2 new moons in a row. So we're going back into full moon, in the sign at this, like, this is what confuses me. So I'm gonna have to look up the astrology for all of this. Not really sure how, like I said, I'm not an astrologer, but I understand the energy of these planets. I understand houses. I understand all that stuff. But when it comes to what what I'm sensing and feeling, I'm still spot on with the collective, even though I've grounded a lot in, and I'm doing a lot of things in the 3D now, to where I'm not continuously. Um, I have to be grounded in the 3D at this point. Saturn ain't let me off the hook anymore. He's not. So that Maleficent planet is like, all right, you had enough of a break. It's time to start moving. And I'm sure the rest of you can sense this urgency within you as well. The thing is as a cardinal sign, we are the initiators. We are the powerhouses of the zodiac when it comes to, we initiate things. We are the movers and shakers, and we start shit. It used to always frustrate, and many Aries can attest to this. It would frustrate us as a collective of Aries to where, we come up with brilliant ideas and we're just retarded enough. Yeah, I'm going to use the R word. We're just dumb enough and naive enough to think that other people aren't going to steal your ideas. Not true. Someone can get a leg up by stepping on you, they will. That's just the way the energy is. That's just the way dark forces work. If they can shut you down, they will, especially if you have a golden heart and a golden soul. They know it. The thing is you need to be brave at this point, collective. And it's okay to run your goals and your dreams by people closest to you, but never, ever give them details. Hello, how are you? Don't give them the details of what your plans are, because some people are not, they're not in integrity. They will steal your dreams and they will crush you in the process. They have no problem doing that. So now is definitely a time. We're going into Taurus season directly. I don't want to rush Aries season, obviously. Oh, by the way, my birthday was good too. We don't want to rush through Aries season. We still have another good 2 weeks of this energy, and then we'll be going into Taurus season. I love anything after spring. I'm so happy winter is over. Thank God. No offense, Pisces, but I can't wait till your fucking season's over most of the time. Not that it isn't a good season, but you know what I mean. I just don't like winter. I'm not a cold weather kind of girl. So, y'all Aries out here. I remember back in 2018, I gave a whole zodiac sign a channeled message of what needed to go on the spot. Yep, I'm doing well. There's certain things that we need to rid ourselves and stop being babies about it. Because of the shit that was happening all around us. We couldn't get into relationships. We couldn't freaking even work. Like, everything was just such a hot mess for most of the Aries out here. Many of the masses didn't even realize what was going on. Well, now we all understand what's going on. They don't understand the spiritual connotations behind it, but many of us who have been studying this stuff do. The thing is if you seek, you will find the truth. That's a promise. If you're seeking for it, you'll find it. Like, why in the hell is all this going on? Look at your natal chart. That's why. I cannot tell you how many times, like, something would happen, and then I'd be like, all right, I got to check my transits. Because I'm not the type of person that's going to wake up every day and just look at my transits and be like, oh, dreading this all damn day. I wait till Usually it comes to me and then I'm like, all right, something's going on with the transits. And then I read it. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. All the sense in the world. If you don't know your natal chart, you need to. Even if you're not into the tarot or anything like that, you need to understand what your natal chart and your natal blueprint for your destiny and purpose in life on this planet is. Can't expect other people to tell you what it's going to be. You need to know internally yourself. If not, you're going to, most of the people who don't understand this stuff, they're never going to ascend. They're going to keep on going through life and patterning their soul over and over and over and over and over again. Most, whether or not we realize this, there's a lot of people walking around on this planet that don't even have a soul. Okay? They don't. They have a spirit, but they don't have a real soul. They sold it. Just look at Hollywood. They all sold their souls. For 30 shekels of silver. Let me say that nothing is really going on. Exactly. It is an exacerbation of exactly what's been going on. And this isn't just in our lifetime. This has been going on. Century after century, after decade, after decade, after year, it's been the same effing cycles. And it just keeps perpetuating because people don't understand that they're not fulfilling their purpose and their destiny. And you're going to keep coming back until you do. Note taken. Now, we all know that, Libra, it's balancing of the scales. It's level playing field. It's looking at your relationships, like I said, with yourself and with others, and seeing where things are unbalanced in your life and not being balanced out. That's what Libra's all about, making sure things are right and level. Aries is all about the self. That's the axis we're coming up onto, guys. The nodes are shifting this month. This soon. The nodes are no longer going to be in Scorpio, and they're no longer going to be in North Node's not going to be in Taurus. They're shifting. North Node's going to be in Aries. That's all about identify yourself. Who are you? South Node would be past life relationships. Understanding those lessons of past life stuff. You had a long time to look around and see where you've been overgiving. Aries would have a problem with, the Aries energy, that ID, that, being very selfish and being very exuberant on the self. And if that's out of balance, that's where the whole narcissism shit comes into anyway. It's that ego that many of us had to have a reality check about. Oh, I know. Well, the thing is nothing is, people around me say nothing is, hang on a minute, but saying it's just human nature playing out and nothing is shifting for them. Well, I believe that things are shifting. For those who've done the work, you're going to make your own way. I'm saying things outside of us, stuff we can't technically control, we're not to control anyway. The divine is going to put everything in correct divine order. So I believe that our relationships will be getting better, especially the relationship with ourselves, because that's where the North Node is going to be. And those relationships that no longer serve you, especially soulmates, karmics, all that stuff in the South Node, you got to let them go. That's what the South Node's all about, is healing and letting it go. So, I honestly believe the twin flame dynamic thing, some of them might actually be coming. The ones that are together are supposed to be together. The ones that aren't, they're going to go. One way or another, you're going to remove the whole concept. I believe that concept's going to get thrown down, to be honest with you. My personal opinion. I think it was an experiment. At this point, that's what I think. Soulmates are definitely, they can be karmic too. The divine brings you in a divine person, and that's your person who matches you. Opposite, but perfect match. So, people might not agree with me with that, but I don't give a fuck. Y'all know I don't care. I don't care what other people think, but you'll see. I haven't been wrong about a whole lot of stuff. I've been wrong about a few things, and I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong about stuff. However, here's the thing. People could be like, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, only for a year or two down the line for me to be exactly 1000% right on everything that I fucking said before it ever came out that I was right. That's why I'm shadow banned on here, by the way. Right? I mean, I get it. I get it. People don't want their secrets out, but whatever. I can't help what the divine tells me, especially when people are not in integrity. Sorry. Not sorry. Call me a fucking elitist snitch. I don't give a fuck. I'll snitch on all these freaking people who rule the world. I don't care. I never did in the past, and I still don't give a fuck. Whatever. Anyway, that's why many of us have had a lot of dark force energy thrown at us for coming on and telling the truth. And here's the thing, before we even realized it as a solidified truth that it came out that it was the truth, we knew in here, or excuse me, I knew in here, or I wouldn't have came out and told you if I didn't feel it so heavy and so strong. I wouldn't have done it. But then only to be found out, guess what? I was right all along. And I have to have a bunch of people tell me, I'm sorry, you were right. Yeah, no shit. When the divine tells me things, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm not going to lie. You people that are, the people, excuse me, not you people, the people who are still stuck on past karmic situations, they're going to go around the mountain a bunch more times. If they didn't learn their lesson, you'll see it in people around you. You could have tried to tell them that someone wasn't shit till you were blue in the face, and they're gonna have to find out on their own. There's no point in you getting frustrated over somebody else's bullshit. Trust me, I've been there. I've been there trying to help friends, and it got me nowhere because they didn't listen. Now they're still going through around the same old mountain, doing the same old shit. What are you gonna do? Anyway, my Virgo's doing good. Never thought I'd date a Virgo, but I like him. He'll be coming down tomorrow evening, so yeah. And also, just letting y'all know the way we're going to be going into retrograde season, so you can bet over the course of the next 2 years, especially you cardinal signs, 1st and 7th house stuff, it's all going to be coming up for review. What no longer serves you, you better let go of. Concepts and all of that. I had to change around a lot of my concepts. I had a whole shift in perspective, 180 shift in perspective of a lot of things. You know, there's a big difference between having a relationship with your creator and being religious. Big difference. That was a huge shift that had taken place, because for the longest time I was very, very, very divided on, even using oracle or tarot cards because of my upbringing and because of what people had told me. The fear tactics. Oh, well, you're doing that. No, it all depends on the person's integrity and their heart. The divine told me to grab these. I was instructed on what I needed to do to make sure my cards were clear. Absolutely, I get it. Some people say, that tarot cards have spirits attached to them. No, they don't. Oh, Ouija boards do. Ouija boards definitely do. I know that for a fact. However, tarot cards, you can clear them. You can't clear a Ouija board. Mm-mm. So, they all have demonic energy attached to them. And nobody wants that in their house. Some people can say, oh, well, yeah, cards do too. No, prove it. I can prove these things have no power unless you, except for the person wielding it. We talk to the creator and the creator gives me answers. These people just talk to a Ouija board and, sometimes they'll move by themselves. Anyways, yeah, I don't see any integrity with using a Ouija board. That's actually bringing in dark forces into the stuff. I'm not interested in working with dark energy, ever. I get it. Some people do. That's up to them. That the board with letters in this circle. Use with the pendulum. Now I'm talking about the ones that have the frickin' a regular Ouija board. I would never recommend. The thing is I know. I'm going to give you, for instance. Hold on a minute. I'm going to tell you a little story about a Ouija board. Here's the thing. If you have a natural gift as a medium, you don't need a Ouija board. People want to talk to their long lost grandparents, go to a medium. They can connect you. If you're any bit spiritual, you can sense them and feel them anyway. So what's the point? I mean, you could put out into the ethers, give me a sign, Pap Graham, whatever, give me a sign, you're around. You'll sense it. You don't need a demonic board to tell you that. But here's the story I have to tell you. And this is weird, but I'm going to bring this up. An ex of mine, he had a Ouija board in his house, and I wouldn't even go over there because the energy was so thick. And then I asked him, I said, where's the Ouija board at? Because I feel it. There's something here that isn't right. And he's like, well, yeah. I'm like, what the? And he showed me where it was in his one closet. And I'm like, that thing needs to go or I'm not coming back. Well, what does he do? He goes out to his burn barrel and burns it. And I said, you shouldn't do that. There's a way of getting rid of them. And you need to take, I think it's called a placard or whatever, the diamond shaped thing that goes through the frickin', goes around to the letters and numbers and stuff. That thing you actually have to bury in a separate spot than you do the board. You cannot bury it all together. But you can that's how you neutralize those things. You have to bury them in the ground. It's pretty sad that you have to go to those extents. Well, this moron ended up burning it in his burn barrel. And the next night, all the pipes in his, I shit you not, all the fucking pipes in his garage bursted. Like it attacked his house then. They didn't have no problems. And then he burned that board and, yep. They can wreak havoc. Let me find out next one. Yeah. I found out somebody used one here and I had to have a fucking clearing done. This is when somebody else lived here. And I'm like, this is retarded and crazy. I will never touch one of those things. I don't want to be in the vicinity of one. Um, Anyways, all those relationships, let me get back on to what I was saying. All those past life relationships and stuff like that, you know which ones are supposed to stay and which ones are supposed to go. I fully believe that any karmic soulmates that you were dealing with, especially if they have it's their personality disordered people, any of those past relationships, you need to weigh them up. And if they're no longer serving your highest good and the relationship is sour, it's time for you to allow that energy to neutralize and disintegrate. You need to just, I know it's easier said than done. However, it can be done. I suggest with this full moon, many of you do a cord clearing or cord cutting and an energy clearing. Whatever way you deem best, it's time. And little did I realize that with two new moons in Aries, you have the opportunity this whole month to clear out everything that no longer serves you. And then over the course of the next 2 years, with the nodes being in Aries and the south node being in Libra, all these past life relationships are going to be coming up to your conscious awareness of where they stand in your life. And if they no longer serve you and your highest good, it's time for you to allow it to go and move forward. I actually have a pendulum. I do. I don't use it very often, but I have used them for energy clearings and stuff like that, to help show me what chakra centers, what energy centers are blocked in your system. I actually do a full scan a lot of times before I even come on with people, and I usually can tell what's blocked in that person, and I know how to clear it. So on and so forth. Anyways, I suggest that y'all do cord cuttings with everybody. And then what's meant to stick will stay. What's meant to leave will depart. I'm not saying you're not going to be tested by the divine. I know what happened out here a week and a half ago was a test. Are you really ready to move on? Yeah. I've been ready, willing, and capable of it. Yep. People, places, and things. More than likely, relationships are going to be coming to your conscious awareness over the course of the next 2 years. I believe many of you are going to have new people coming in to your life in your 3D world. Some are going to be a lesson, and some are going to be a lesson, and some are going to be a blessing to add to, not take away from. Many of us have been so doggone giving, and we haven't really received a whole lot for our efforts. So if you haven't received, if it wasn't equal, then those relationships are completely unbalanced, and it's time to move forward away from that energy. Once you do, you will see that you deserve so much better, and that's what you'll attract. Somebody who aligns with you, people who align with you. Your soul tribe, I've been saying it for a while, your soul tribe's coming in, but you have to make room for it. So I know bitterness, animosity, any of that other stuff, it can no longer linger. It's just taking up space that somebody else could come in and fill. Oh, one last thing. I don't even know how to put this out there, but I'm going to. You know how I all left my last place of employment. on a very good note. I let it go. And I do recall saying about stuff that happens to people who mess with me because divine got my back. Like, I can't help what happens. I'm not responsible. How people treat me comes back full fucking circle. And the things that mean the most is usually what the divine teaches them a lesson with. Well, the one person in there, the one supervisor that wasn't very kind to me, I found out last weekend. My boyfriend called me and he's like, so and so's son was in a car accident and died. I said to him, remember what I said? That when people hurt me, I had nothing in it. The last thing they need to do is blame me because I didn't do shit. Even though I tried warning people, don't mess with me, man. God don't take very kindly to that. And if you start throwing black magic or you start throwing shade at me or you start doing ignorant things to me, I can't help what the divine does in retaliation of your evil toward me. I can't help that. So you can do what you want, but just remember, karma's a bitch. And I'm not saying this no, it's horrible. And I feel awful. But, I said a prayer for her. That woman has destroyed more people's livelihoods and lives. And she messed with the right one. So, I sent her well wishes. I can't help what the divine does in retaliation to people who fuck with me. I certainly didn't will it. I certainly didn't want that. But I can't help it. Like, here's the weird thing. I had a feeling something like that was going to happen. I just felt it in my gut. And not even 2 weeks after I left there, something bad happened. And I'm just like, what do? I pray for my enemies. I bless those who curse me. I walk away and let it go and don't say a whole lot about it at that point. By the way, I start my new job on Monday, so I love you all, and I will be coming on to do the Starseed Lightworker reading. Like I said, I've been saying it in the Starseed readings too. If you watch my Starseed readings that I do, I don't mess around. Like, I will sometimes get energy like that. And I think I did say something about car accident in the last one. I said, I hate putting it out there like that, but it's exactly what fucking happened. So, anyway, I love you all. You all take care, and I really hope that the stuff that I said resonates, especially if you're teeter-tottering on whether or not to release people. It's honestly time. Make room for new situations and new relationships, and ground in some healthy energy and allow healthy people to come into your life. If that's what you want, that's who the divine will give you. But you have to release stale, stagnant, old relationships. Anyway, that's pretty much what I have to say about the energy for this full moon. It's the release of that. It's the fullness of that. Forgive and move forward. I'm not saying forget. Forgive. Don't be naive. Take the lesson. Apply it. Use it for whoever's coming in so that because you will be tested. You'll be tested on if you learned your lesson. You will be tested. I love you too. You'll be tested. Just make sure make sure. I'm not saying overanalyze, and don't you people need to earn your trust. They don't just get it automatically. Us Aries usually like to just trust everybody because we're naive like that. We think everybody is good-hearted. At least, the ascended Aries do. The lower vibrational Aries, well, we won't talk about them because they can be pretty fucking ignorant. Anyway, and selfish, impatient. So, not saying us ascendant Aries can't be impatient. It can't be impatient too, but just do your best when these people start coming in. Do your best to not be suspicious, be open, but don't be naive. Watch their actions, make sure their actions line up with their words. That was one thing I really had to learn. Actions need to line up with the words that come out their mouth. Okay? I know I haven't always been the best as far as like getting readings out there, but I don't know. I have a lot of shit going on right now. I'm not going to put a whole lot of it on here because it's not for the world to know. But there's been a lot of stuff that's been happening in my personal day-to-day life. My boyfriend knows pretty much everything. There was a lot of stuff that just shifted today. And like, even when good things are happening to me, like I know me and my Virgo are pretty solid, so I don't mind putting that out here. He knows everything about me at this point. So I have nothing to hide. Not that I had really anything to hide before, but I have zero to hide. And so it's one of those things where I'm not worried about it. With him, he's here to stay. He ain't going nowhere, and neither am I. Um, just make sure that their actions line up with their words. And if they don't, you need to release them. Don't be naive and keep them around if their actions aren't lining up with their words. And don't just ghost somebody. You need to explain to them, your actions don't line up with your words, and I don't need inconsistency with what you say and what you do in my 3D life. We don't need that bullshit. Anyway, I'm off of here. Y'all have a good night, and I'm going to come on and do, I got to go for a P test tomorrow for my job. So after I go do that, I'll come home and try and do a starseed reading for the collective, and that will be that. Anyway, I'm going to get off here. I love you, and I'm going to come on and try and do a reading at one point tomorrow. So I go first thing in the morning for my P test. Wish me luck. Bye.